So what does it really take to become a profitable futures trader? These are the things that you're going to really need to know, and I'm going to cover them all within this video. Now, first and foremost, I want to tell you now, as a beginner trader, someone that's looking to start making money in 2025, whether it is becoming a part-time or full-time trader, I personally trade supply and demand. Okay, so whatever strategy that you actually trade, and if you're already profitable, please do yourself the biggest favor. Continue trading that. All right. I'm talking about, trying to help individuals out there that are struggling with direction of the market, that are struggling with trying to determine a bias in which they need to or should be looking to trade. If we are trending to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows, should only be looking to take bullish pullbacks to key areas of demand, where there's aggressive areas of buying, and then inverse of, if we are pushing to the downside and trending lower, making lower lows and lower highs, you should only be looking for pullbacks to key areas of supply. Now, again, supply and demand, looking for those beautiful order blocks, zones or areas, it's the same difference. That's what we need to be focused in on when it comes to trading this particular style of actual trading. Now, myself, and I personally, I like to scalp, all right, the future markets and versus, swing or spending time day trading, for hours on end during the day session, all right, and that's during the New York session. Primarily. Now, there are other markets in which you can trade, or other time periods in which you can trade, like the Asian session or the London session. So it all depends on, where you possibly live at globally and what, your schedule's like. Okay. So the number one thing you're going to need to really work out and understand, master this one concept, all right, surrounding market structure. It is extremely important to be able to understand the overall movement within the market. All right, which direction? If we are bearish to the downside, like we've been all day today, your only thing or opportunity in what you should be looking at or pullbacks to key areas of supply. All right, so you could do this even from a lower base chart. Like if you find that you're having a hard time waiting for the market to pull back to a key area of supply, like this was a beautiful area where it broke structure right here, pulled back to an area of supply off the 120, and I just moved down to my lower base chart on my 24 range entry chart to see if I could find a zone within this zone. And that's the approach I take, is looking for confluence when it comes to actual trading. And I was able to find a 24 range supply zone resting on the inside of my 120 range supply zone. Okay. Now, outside of that, there was a supply area. I took this trade here today, right here, when the market pulled back to the 120 range supply zone. And so anyways, moving to the downside. So opportunities like this, where the market pulls back, we mark up the zone off the higher base chart to start with, and then scale down to a lower base entry chart. Now, if you're having a hard time finding opportunities to where, you're waiting patiently for the market to pull to a key zone you may have marked up off of a higher base chart, then scale down and start looking at your lower base charts, but take the trades in the direction of the higher base chart. I'm going to show you that here in a minute as well, and looking at two trade setups, one that was right here off the 24 range chart, and then one that was right here. This was a short opportunity to go short, and following up with another opportunity when the market came back down and started breaking structure to the downside. I pulled back to go short right here. Now, my key, the ingredient or sauce to actually how I trade, again, is surrounding multi-chart confluence, looking for setups where we have our higher base chart pulling back to a key area if we're bearish to the downside, in this example here, to an area or order block where there's a supply zone resting at. Right here, okay? I'm on my 120 range chart. This is where I start with each and every day to give me the directional bias of the market. Now, when the market pulled back to this key area right here, it tapped into this zone, okay? I'm going to cover this trade breakdown as I do in so many videos here on my channel for the elite member or for the elite channel supporters, okay? And if you're interested in becoming an elite channel supporter, the link is down in the description portion of the video, right below the Discord link. You'll see a link there titled Elite Channel Supporter. Click on that. 2 tiers will pop up, and make sure to choose the one for $6.99 a month. That's all it is. It's like 24 to 25 cents on the day. If you would break that down really, guys, and to see how much money do you actually spend on a daily basis on a price of a cup of coffee, your breakfast sandwich, whatever it may be, that adds up probably $50 to $60 a week. Here's something that could be, extremely mind-blowing and changing for you personally if you spend time back testing, forward testing, see if it works out for you. Again, all you really have involved is really $6.99 a month. That's really all it is. If it doesn't work out for you, then just kind of move on, like I tell people, all right? Because I know we don't all see things eye to eye all the time or from the same perspective, or you may not be able to read or see the market, or maybe read the market differently, okay? But if you're looking for a solid strategy, this strategy works. Again, back tested and forward tested. But if you want to become an elite member to receive the trade breakdowns, that's where I go into detail about breaking down these setups. Like I'm going to cover this one today. Over on the private community, the elite channel supporter community, you also receive the video playlist and a great video that I covered surrounding market structure for anyone that is interested. The link is down in the description. The Discord is free. If you're interested in joining, it's down below as well. Again, now, how I trade is looking for key areas of marking up first and foremost with my 120 chart, okay, like I did right here, and then I move down. So what I'm going to show you today is just as well is that where you could find opportunity where the market is not pulling back to a zone. Like right now, I have this zone right here marked up. It's a supply zone. We haven't reached that supply zone right as of yet. We could, and then I'll be looking for something to happen. So if I marked up this zone right here, okay, we just broke structure below this area here. Pull back, break a structure, pull back. Now, here's the things that I look for. The number one thing I have to see is have a break a structure. Low, okay, pulling back, another low. So we made a low, a lower high, and then we broke structure to the downside, creating a new low as we ran lower. This is a key area where the market pulls back to a supply area. Now, there is a gap or imbalance resting back or attached to the actual zone right here. Okay, so when the market pulls back to this area, if we get reaction in this zone, okay, and I would move down to my lower base chart at this point on my 24 range. If I see rejection, I'm going to go short. So that's called multi-chart confluence, where I'm using multiple charts, or basically two charts, to give me the confluence I need to engage in going short. Now, again, this is a supply area, or most of you might want to call it an order block area, but it's high probability. And that imbalance or gap attached back at the zone is what classifies or makes it a high probability order block, okay, or supply zone. Now, in this case here, we also have confluence with 17,850. More confluence there as a round number. But I want to move down. I would move down to my lower base chart to see if there was a zone. So let's take a look at this right quick. I'm just going to mark this up, okay, and we'll go down to the lower base chart right quick. And here we are. So this is the 120 range zone that I got marked up. Now, if the market comes back to this area here, and this is where I said we had to break a structure on the 120. I would possibly be looking for opportunity like right here. There is a 24 range supply zone right here. Okay, right there. In which the market could come back and test that area, and I can look for an opportunity to go short. Now, it can also push a little higher here and maybe test some other areas, but once the market gets to our higher base zone first, the 120 and then the 24 range, that's where we're going to be looking for the rejection. If we get the rejection back at the 24 range zone, supply zone, then I'm going to go short. So we'll see what happens when the market gets back there. But that's pretty much how I trade each and every day, is following the overall direction first, getting that right. Market structure, number one thing, you got to get that right first. Looking at which way we're moving. Well, I see right here, well, let's see here. Yeah, we were bearish to the downside right here, pulling back. So we're making these lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, breaking structure constantly to the downside, creating these big swings, right? So we're still bearish. We've been bearish ever since the market started pushing down here, pulling back, and then making lower lows and lower highs, like I just said. Even right here, this is just a pullback, okay? This is a nice bullish run back to the upside that we've created right here before pushing back lower and breaking more structure right here. And we've been dumping to the downside today all day, all right? So again, if the market pulls back to this area right here, I would possibly be looking for something maybe if we get reaction. Now, I'm not just taking the trade off the 120, my higher base chart, but that's the first zone that I mark up is off of the higher base chart first, and then move down to my lower base chart to see if we can tap into a lower base. And that's whatever entry chart you use. For me, it's a 24 range chart. Maybe you use a 5-minute chart, whatever it may be. And I'm not saying the two are comparable in any means or any sense, because those two charts are calculated completely different. Those two type styles of charts. Okay. So again, 120, then tap into the 24, and we also have confluence with the half number there at 17,850. I'm going to look for an opportunity to go short if I get the rejection. All right, simply put. Now, let's say that the market is moving to the downside, but it's not pulling back to any key area off of our higher base zones or higher base charts, right? So far it hasn't tested this area here. But if I scale down to the lower base chart, I can always see on the higher base chart we are bearish. If I scale down to my 24 range chart, I can look for opportunity just as well. Now, I know that we're already bearish on the higher base chart, right? So as long as we're bearish, I'm going to be looking for opportunities to key areas of supply on my 24 range chart. Low, lower, high, breaking structure, pulling back, breaking more, pulling back, breaking more structure. So it's leaving behind, like right here, there was a supply zone resting right here. Market break structure, comes back to it, go short. You can, grab yourself some points, come back down to the downside, but understanding that there is an area of support right here. And this is liquidity as well, because we have equal lows resting right here. We have low, low, and another low that it just came off of about 2:55 Eastern time right there. Now, so we could have went short. So when the market starts pushing back to the upside, making higher highs and higher lows, we're still bearish on the higher base chart overall, right? So what would happen is I would look for opportunity if I want to go back, fall in the direction of the higher base chart to see where the market starts to break structure coming back down to the downside, okay? Like taking out a low right here. It makes a low, lower high, running to the downside right here. It breaks this low right here, okay? So we made a new low. Pulls back, it breaks more structure right here. So when we turn back around from being, bullish here on a pullback, moving to the upside on the lower base chart, we then came back and started showing bearish movement, okay, back to the downside, giving us a little bearish run to the downside, breaking below this low here, came down low, lower high, breaking another low right here, below this area here. So I'll look for a pullback to go short right here, okay, moving overall in the direction of the higher base chart. Okay, and this is a high probability supply zone just as well. Again, like I said, looking at the direction of the market. Okay, first and foremost, got to see a breaker structure. The breaker structure has to have a imbalance or gap back to the zone or attached to the zone itself. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. But I don't always have to wait for the market to tap into a higher base like the 120. Yeah, if it does do that, I'm gonna say this. If we get a nice setup to where it does pull back to a key area like it did right here of supply, okay, off of a higher base chart, then the move is probably going to be greater. Like right here, it may come back right here, and it may tap into this, supply zone right there, and it can be just as great as well back to the downside. So we'll see what happens. But I'm letting you know, as long as you are looking and taking trades, even on a lower base chart, but overall in the direction of your higher base chart, you can still find setups for quick scalps off of the lower base chart, okay? The setups that work beautifully is where we have the higher base pulling back to, again, the higher base chart pulling back to a key area of supply or demand, in this case here supply, but can also find within that higher base supply or order block zone where we can find a lower base chart supply or order block zone just as well. All right. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. I mean, I know that everybody's trying to find a strategy that works for them, and not everybody's going to see or be able to use strategies just the way or the same way that other people do. I created this and it works for me. So I can't guarantee that anything that it's going to work for you, but we do have profitable traders that are using it every single day that are part of our Discord community. Some are still with us, some have gone. I don't expect everybody to stick around. But this is a great strategy to use for anyone out there who's a beginner trader that's looking to really start building an account they may have, whether it's a prop firm account, whether it's a personal trading account they have through their own broker. All right, maybe you're using the AMP or NinjaTrader, TraderVate, whoever is your broker of choice. You can do the same thing by scalping using this strategy every single day. And you don't just have to do it off the higher base chart. Like I said, you can do it off of a lower base chart. But again, make sure you're taking your trades in the direction of the higher base chart from the lower base chart if you're going to do that. Scalp that way, all right? But that's all I have for you guys today. If you're interested to become a elite channel supporter, again, the link is down in the description portion of the video. Make sure to choose the second tier for $6.99 to get all the trade breakdown videos, to receive the video playlist, and a great video that I covered on market structure as well for anyone that's interested and struggling with that concept. Now, if you're not a current subscriber, please take the time to go ahead and subscribe to the channel by clicking on the actual sub button. Okay, make sure to turn your post notifications on by clicking the bell as soon as you do that. Outside of that, if you could do me the biggest favor, if you found value in today's video, please drop a like by clicking that thumbs up button. I definitely appreciate it, and I'll see everyone over in the next video. Take care, and just be very cautious, trading the rest of the week, and I hope everybody has a successful trading week.